How's it going, everybody? My name's Jeff and we are back with another episode here behind the glass, and today I want to bring to attention all of the newer fish keepers out there who've been in the game for maybe less than 6 months or only have one tank. I want to bring 10 tips and tricks from me to you on how you can improve your fish keeping, how you can make things easier on yourself, safer on your fish, and healthier for your fish tank in general. Now, of course, these are just my personal preferences and things that most experienced aquarists probably already know, but you never know, there may be something in here that you could probably still benefit from even if you've been in the game for years. So with all that being said, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're interested in content like this, and of course leave a comment below if I forgot anything in this video. Let's move on to the first thing that I'm going to be talking about, which is buying a master test kit. Now, the difference between a master test kit and test kit strips is that test kit strips tend to have a history of being very, very inaccurate, or they're just not as reliable when it comes to reading your ammonia, nitrites, or nitrates. They can also be a little bit unreliable when it comes to reading your pH because the color grading on them is a little bit iffy, and if you don't have very good bright lighting to actually read it, sometimes it can appear a bit darker than it normally is or appear lighter than it is, and they're just unreliable because you're seeing it on a white piece of paper. And you know how in elementary school they were asking you oh, which color is darker? Is this orange darker or is this orange darker? But in reality they were the same color the whole time, or which circle is bigger, this circle or this circle, and they're actually the same size. Same thing applies to the Appy test strips. When you use test strips, you're seeing a single color, but around that color is white. And your eyes have a very hard time telling very finite color differences between very light orange or a regular orange or yellow orange or whatever. They have a very hard time telling the difference when they're surrounded by white, which is one reason why test strips are so unreliable. But another reason is that test strips tend to age a lot faster than chemicals that you would have in a master test kit. And then lastly, the reason why you should buy a master test kit is because it lasts a lot longer, the value is better, and on top of that, you don't have any paper around your test tubes to actually read everything. You can hold it up to a window or light, you can see through the vial and get a much more accurate estimate of what you're actually dealing with. The second tip I have for you is to own 4 5-gallon buckets. 2 for clean water and 2 for bad water. And the reason you should keep them separate is because if you mix and match your buckets and you just don't care which one you use for dirty water and which one you use for clean water, after many months, the dirty water buckets are going to accumulate dirt at the bottom and stuff that can't be removed no matter how hard you try cleaning it, and eventually it's going to get to the point to where residual ammonia is going to build up in the bad water buckets, and then if you're putting good water in the bad water buckets, then you're going to put ammonia back into your tank, you're going to put other bad chemicals in there. There's a chance that you could put some foreign bacteria in there that your fish are going to be not thrilled to have, of course. But tip number 3 for you is to make sure that you're not using too many chemicals when you're doing your water changes. Now, of course, I'm a believer in minimalism. Overall, I firmly believe that the less you mess with your tank, the happier your fish are going to be and the healthier your water is going to be. And I'm going to explain this here really quick. I'll make a more detailed guide in the future about this. But in short, if you use too many chemicals in your tank, your water is going to get messed up. You're going to mess up your parameters. There's going to be too much bacteria or algae or what have you, and then your tank's going to break out and it's going to be a mess. And then you're going to keep dumping chemicals in there. It's going to be super unhealthy for your fish. Going to stress them out, and they may even get too stressed out, if you know what I mean. So, in short, only use 1, maybe 2 water conditioners for your tank. I would highly recommend either Chem Prime for this or Appy Aqua Essential. If you can't find either of these, then Appy Stress Coat and Quick Start will be just fine. But you don't need to mess with pH balancers or ammo lock or any of that other stuff. You don't normally need to mess with it. You don't need to dump it in your tank. Leave it alone. Don't buy it. Just keep things simple. Tip number 4 for you is to try and invest money into buying live plants. Now, I'm a huge advocate for live plants over plastic plants for many different reasons, and I'll list a couple of them here. Live plants are much healthier for the ecosystem of your tank. They look better when they're fully grown. They're healthier for your fish. They're softer on your fish, so that way your fish won't actually tear their fins so much. They're easier to maintain in your tank. They feed snails and shrimp in your tank if you, for whatever reason, aren't feeding your snails for some reason, which I'll go into detail later in the video. There's just so many benefits. I didn't even write any benefits down. I don't have a list of benefits or anything. I'm just listing benefits that I think of off the top of my head. They hold bacteria better, they keep your water cleaner, they give oxygen during the night. There's just so many benefits to having live plants over fake plants. Just invest in live plants if you can. Do it for your fish, do it for yourself. Tip number 5 that I'm gonna give to new aquarists is to invest in one of these bad boys. That's right, this is a Fluval AquaClear filter. By far the best filter on the market. My next video is actually gonna be going in depth about these guys. These are my favorite filters. I love these things. Adore them. They're all the benefits of a canister filter with the ease of access of a hang-on back filter. And yeah, I'll go into more detail with my next video on those. But if you have the money to spare, please buy this. You're gonna thank yourself, your fish are gonna thank you, and your water's gonna look beautiful. So tip number 6, I referred to this earlier in the video a couple tips ago, is to feed your snails or your Otos or any bottom-dwelling fish that you have. Now, yes, your snails and shrimp and Otos can sustain themselves on naturally growing algae or dead plant matter or what have you. They can't sustain themselves on a healthy living diet for very long on just decaying plant matter and algae. It's just not natural and not healthy for them. You need to supplement their diet. A couple of things that I would highly recommend you feed your snails and Otos are cucumbers, small cuts of broccoli, peas. There's a couple different things that you can feed them. You can also feed cuttlefish bone for calcium for your snails and shrimp. Just make sure that you're feeding your bottom feeders. Don't just leave them to the elements because they're not gonna last long. You'll thank yourself later. Tip number 7 that a lot of new aquarists do, and I've actually made a full detailed video on this, I'll leave up here or in the description below, but a full cleaning of the tank, which includes like not only changing the water, but you're changing the filter, you're cleaning the water, you're cleaning the glass, you're cleaning the gravel, you're cleaning your plants, you're cleaning everything in your tank all at the same time, and then your tank crashes. Please stop cleaning everything at the same time. This is why you may be experiencing bacteria and algae blooms. Like I said, I've covered it on full video, but just put simply, please don't clean everything at the same time. If you do clean water, clean your gravel, and then maybe in a week, clean your filter. And then next week, clean your glass. Just rotate the amount of things that you clean every few days or every week, because otherwise you will experience the negative consequences of cleaning too much in your tank. Just keep it simple, don't do too much, and you'll be happy. Your fish are also gonna be happier too, trust me. So tip number 8 that I see a lot of people recommend, I personally am kind of iffy on, but I'm still gonna throw it in here because it can be helpful in an emergency, is to have a backup hospital tank. That can be like 20 gallons or 10 gallons or something. Just something that's small and easily set up so that in an emergency, if for some reason you have one of your fish gets ick, or fin rot, or any kind of disease, you can take them out of your main display tank and put them in the hospital tank and then cure them and make sure that they get proper treatment in that other tank, away from your main tank. Now, the reason this is so important is because a lot of medications like ICX or fungal medications, they contain trace amounts of copper and mercury and pretty nasty stuff that if you have invertebrates like snails or shrimp, they're not gonna like. You'll probably actually end up killing off some of the bacteria in your tank as well. Overall, a much better, smarter idea to keep the medicine and the healing process away from the display tank. Just have a separate tank ready to go and set up in an emergency when you need it. You don't have to set it up and keep it running forever, because then you're just running a tank for no reason, and honestly, you would just need to reset it anyways when you do need to use it. So just like keep it in the corner of a basement, have it ready to go in an emergency when you need it, and just keep it in mind in case you do have a fish that needs your assistance and you need to take it out of your tank and take care of it. So tip number 9 is just like a small, quick little tip. It's to keep a towel on hand on the side when you do your water changes, because inevitably when you do water changes, you're gonna spill water. It's just gonna happen. And it makes the process so much easier when you just have like a towel or something that you use to just clean up water after you're done. You can like switch it around and stuff. That way you don't have to go and pick a towel from another room or something. And you can clean up on the go when you're filling water in. Sometimes you accidentally spill water outside of the glass. You can just wipe the glass with a towel and then go about your business. But I just like having a towel nearby just for ease of convenience. I don't know, I just figured I'd throw this in here because it's something that not a lot of people do, but I find the convenience of having a towel nearby super, super nice. All right, so now we're down to our final 10th tip, and that is to avoid using household cleaners on your glass. When you are cleaning the outside of your glass, not the inside, but the outside of your glass, when you're cleaning it, don't use any glass cleaners or anything with alcohol or any harsh chemicals in it. Do not, because inevitably there's going to be something that ends up tracing into your tank, and then your fish are, well, the fish aren't gonna like it. Just put it that way. So please, when you clean the outside of your tank, do not use household cleaners. Just use water, get some paper towel, wet the paper towel, wash the outside with the paper towel, get another paper towel, dry it off. That's all you need is just tap water to wash the outside of your glass. And related to this, if you use aerosols in your house, please, please, please spray away from your tank. Do not spray over your tank because, again, aerosols will fall into the water. And if too much falls in, obviously, again, not very nice things will happen to your fish. So when you do spray aerosols, just keep in mind to spray away from your tank. I know this may seem like very common sense to some people, but honestly, the mistake happens more often than not. And it even happened to me one time with my old beta tank. I didn't have a lid on it, and I learned my lesson the hard way. That was just quick 10 little tips on keeping fish, and I'm not really sure if any of these are ones that you haven't heard before. They're all really common sense tips, honestly, but there are some people out there that could find some use in these, and if some of these are helpful to you or you didn't think about some of these things before, I really, really do hope that they helped you. That was the entire reason I created this video. Once again, if you do find this information helpful, it would really help me out to give the video a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below of any other beginner tips that you have for any newbie fish keepers, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Have a great one.